So it looks like AH, or the people paying for her case, felt she was going to lose. So they wanted to talk about settling. That's right. Not only that, but if you look at the date this document comes up, we haven't seen this document yet though, but if you look at the dates and you look at the name attached, this didn't come up way back when everything started. Nope. This popped up just weeks before the trial started. Yeah, all of that bravado, all of them saying that they were confident going in, they were shocked by that decision, that was all lies, and they're telling you this by this document. Not only that, but they had this designated confidential, and the reason they did that is so you and we wouldn't be able to find out about it. Well, guess what? The judge has gotten tired of AH. They've gotten tired of Elaine. They've decided that they're going to unlock quite a few documents out there. This is a big one. I mean, we are talking about a bombshell here. You and we're going to discuss that today. Oh man, fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. So, hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. Confidential settlement discussions, trying to end this case before it begins and right before you start. I mean, that is an absolute bombshell, right? The interesting thing, though, is most people, they don't know this exists at all. In fact, we just found out about this existence of this today. The judge brought it up in a decision, but other bombshells, they dropped too. The biggest one, this overshadowed everything, by the way, was that JD's win. It was going to remain. All of those motions that AH presented, the ones where she said a juror 15, they weren't who they said they were. Yeah, all of that stuff, it got shot down. There is nothing to it. The judge did not seem happy about that discussion at all either. Denied. Now, along with that decision, there was another decision rendered today. And this, it was a big one. In fact, we will do our own video on it, explaining the decision itself and all of the things that go along with it. But essentially, what we're talking about here is something that involves protective orders, aka confidential or classified designations. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this trial for a while, you might not know that she kept a lot of documents out of the public eye. The way that she did this is she lobbied the court, saying, it would be unfair if anyone could see that. And the judge, they didn't give everything to them, but they said there are two conditions in which I will allow it. The first condition would be if the items are sensitive material. Now, sensitive material, it's supposed to be a very narrow band of information. We'd be talking about things like medical information, for example, stuff like financial information and on. I agree, by the way, that stuff, it should not be in the public. We don't need to know anything about that. That goes too far. There was another classification, though, and this, in my opinion, it was overused quite a bit. I think that the judge thought that too at some times, and that was the idea of anything that could sway a jury potentially. If I covered it, for example, when it came out, somebody were to see it, that swayed them, she couldn't get an impartial trial. The judge said, nah, we'll lock that stuff down. But at the end of this process, it's all going to come out in the wash. Why? Because court documentation is public information. That's the way it's always supposed to be. Well, the judge seemed rather annoyed when AH and Elaine, at the end of the trial, when they started their appeals process, started marking other things confidential. They started putting, in fact, more stuff on the confidential list, and you had the judge come in. There are minutes of this discussion, too, saying, I thought we were going to unmark everything. That was the way that I wanted to go forward. And JD's lawyer, Ben Chu, said the same thing. Yeah, that's what we thought as well. Elaine and AH, though, they argued with the judge about this, saying that everything that was marked, well, that stuff, by and large, it was all sensitive material. They should get to pick and choose what was there. They would only pick a few things that they wanted to be unveiled. Well, the judge, I think, is really tired of them. The judge has been dealing, after all, with all all of their mainstream appearances, hearing about how that jury, they didn't give them a fair trial. In fact, the court, the judge, even the stenographer, none of those people could be trusted at all. So the judge decided, you know what? I'm going to make this decision on my own. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to unlock over 60 items. Maybe she'll come back and unlock more. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of stuff there. And this right here, oh man, this is a big one. You know, I didn't notice this at first too, but looking back, just read this with me. And think about what this is saying here. So Exhibit 25 of defendants. Now, when it says defendant, by the way, you got to remember, we are talking about AH in this. So AH filed this memorandum in support of motions for containing a confidential settlement discussion. Now, why would she have a settlement discussion? There's the possibility that the insurance companies didn't want to pay any more of this because they thought that this was basically writing a blank check. After all, we found out one of them, they had underwritten her for at least $5 million. Another one is suing to get off the hook, saying, I don't want to put out another $1 million. So that's a possibility. But I actually think that if the insurance company was looking at it, they thought this might be a loser here. In fact, I think that AH and her team, they thought that as well. And the reason that I think that is because if you look at other trials and you look at the dates leading up to this, well, something changes. If you look, for example, when all of this starts out, they don't try to get any type of settlement discussion whatsoever. They don't try to stop this. In fact, they are very loud, very vocal about the process. They feel that they're not going to have any problems. It's going to get dismissed outright. And even when it doesn't, they continue on. In fact, after UK 2020, they got really loud about what they were doing. They talked to the media. They would talk to anyone about the process. They said, in fact, they had a strong case. They could withstand anything. But if you look as they get closer and closer, you'll notice other things come up. You see body cam footage that comes out. You find out the truth about charitable donations. They had buried that stuff too. Their co-conspirator, the ACLU, they made him take them to court in New York. He had to go to that level, but he managed to do that. So when they were rolling around, I don't think that they felt they were standing on firm ground. Not only that, too, but you had the biggest item of all drop. That would be the cameras in the court. See, they didn't think that that would happen. They actually thought they would get the arbiters of truth. Again, that would be the mainstream media. They would get to decipher what went on. Well, when they didn't get that, I think they were worried because, you look at the acting job that AH did. She knew that she was going to be in the public eye. This would absolutely decimate her. I think her lawyers knew that at least. So yeah, they wanted to bring this stuff to the table. They wanted to hide it in the aftermath, telling people that's not going to make us look good. That makes us look like we thought we were going to lose. And it does, by the way. It looks really bad. That could have swayed a jury, but now all of that's going to come out in the wash. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Check out the links in the description too. They help out this channel immensely. We could always use your help, but you being here, that is the biggest thing. So thank you. I appreciate you. And in here, see you soon.